Everybody, it's Carl. Kicked back here at my office at Oak Creek. Yesterday, I had a really bad day. I started off with a flat tire, and that's never a good way to start a day. Went to Walmart, was going to have them patch it. After 45 minutes, they told me, "Oh, we can't fix this tire." Tried to sell me a new tire. Didn't have the money to buy a new tire, so got to work an hour late. And in the process of all of this, I started to really focus on my finances, started to worry, started to stress over some things, started to stress over my job. Just a lot of things happened in a short period of time that day. It really caused my day to go downhill fast. Well, yesterday afternoon, I had a couple come in that were going to try to buy a house. They'd actually purchased a house for me earlier, but we were working out some of the details on financing, and come to find out they weren't going to be able to finance, weren't going to be able to buy the house because of financing issues. And that really was just kind of the crushing blow. When they left, it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I hadn't even had a chance to go to lunch yet. So I left to go to lunch, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to plug in a praise and worship CD. And I plugged in some Carrie Job, and I was listening as I went and got lunch, and then drove around a little bit, and just decided, you know what, I'm going to focus on the presence of God. And so I started to just worship there in the car, started to just focus on God and thank God for everything He had done for me. And it was a funny thing, because as my eyes began to come off of the problem, then the stress and the worry started to go away. When my eyes began to refocus on Jesus, then my problem started to disappear. And God revealed something to me pretty awesome. In His Word, He says that no temptation has overcome you such that is common to man. But God's faithful, and with temptation He provides a way of escape. So, a lot of people say God won't give you more than you can bear, and it's not talking about stress, it's talking about temptation. But stress and worry can be temptation. See, I believe anything that attempts to take our eyes and our focus off of God is a temptation. We get tempted to stress, we get tempted to worry. And it was amazing the few minutes that I was able to spend in the presence of God yesterday, driving around in my vehicle with that praise and worship CD, how that completely turned my day around, it completely turned my attitude around, and I began to realize that a lot of times the way that God gives us out of temptation is His presence. I went to Psalms 91, here's what it says. It says, "You who sit down in the high God's presence, spend the night in Shaddai's shadow." Now understand, I'm reading out of the Message Bible. It says, "Say this, God, you're my refuge. I trust in you and I'm safe." That's right. He rescues you from hidden traps, shields you from deadly hazards. His huge outstretched arms protect you, and under them you're perfectly safe. His arm fends off all harm. Fear nothing, not wild wolves in the day, nor flying arrows in the night. Not disease that prowls through the darkness, nor disaster that erupts at high noon. Even though others succumb all around, drop like flies, left and right, no harm will ever graze you. You'll stand untouched and watch it all from a distance. Watch the wicked turn into corpses. Yes, because God's your refuge. The high God, your very own home. Evil can't get close to you. Harm can't get through the door. We've got to understand that when we retreat to the presence of God, evil can't follow. When we focus on our finances, we've taken our eyes off of the one who is our provider. When we're worried about being free and we're trying so hard to be free, we've taken our eyes off the one that can set us free. And I believe with all my heart that when we take the time to retreat to God's presence, even if it's just a couple of minutes, I can retreat to God's presence with somebody sitting across the desk from me, because the Bible also says that when we worship God, we have to worship Him in spirit and in truth. So it's not like I'm going to freak people out and go, "Oh, hang on just a second. Oh, Jesus, I need you right now. Praise you." Raise my hand, start worshiping with somebody across the desk from me. No. But mentally, spiritually, I can make that connection with God and enter His presence. Entering His presence a lot of times is just about taking our eyes off of what we can see and putting our eyes on what we can't see, but what we know to be true. And I'm talking about God. And, I just want to encourage you today, because this encouraged me yesterday, and this is what I talked about last night at Catalyst. I want to encourage you today to spend time in the presence of God. When we start to worry, when you recognize the attacks of the enemy coming against you, retreat to the presence of God, because it can't follow. We spend so much time fighting these battles I'm going to resist temptation. I'm going to fight the devil. I'm going to this, that, and the other. Well, what we need to be doing is retreating to the presence of God, because the Bible says that He's our refuge. He's our strength. He's our fortress. He's a place that we can hide. When we retreat into the presence of God, evil can't follow and evil can't bombard us when we're in the presence. So I just want to encourage you today, get into the presence of God. Find time to spend time in the presence of God. When life is coming against you and you're just so busy, just let your spirit, just take a few minutes and let your spirit worship God. Worship Him in spirit and truth. I love you guys. I hope I got the point across what I was trying to say, and I will talk to you again soon.